Well, Lynn Vidler, it's so neat to have you on this blog with the whole CXO. I love to interview people who've done some remarkable things. And it wasn't until I heard you speaking at Leadership Pikes Peak that I realized, wow, you have a unique leadership journey that I think could inspire a lot of people. So I appreciate you being willing to share your story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah. You know, Pretty important position you have as provost. So, I just want to know, did you anticipate this journey? Tell us the
Mm.
kind of the Reader's Digest version, because I did tell you I won't take more than half an hour of time, because most women don't have more than half an hour to listen to a podcast anyway. Did you anticipate being here 20, 30 years ago? And what led you down this path, first of all? And just give us the short version of how you got where you are today.
Yeah, well, I don't think kids grow up wanting to be provosts.
I don't think it's on the list, is it?
It's not really on the usual list. And a lot I think the most frequently asked question that I get is what is a provost, right? So I think
Yeah.
it might be important just kind of lay that foundation.
Yeah.
And a provost is I'm the provost and executive vice chancellor for academic affairs. So
Okay.
that's second part at University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. So that second part is more descriptive, and really what it means is that I oversee the entire academic part of the mission of the university. So others handle, we have a CFO and we have a legal team, right? And people who run student affairs and enrollment management. And I handle everything related to academics. So I oversee all of the colleges and schools, the library, and the research mission. And our office hopefully provides a kind of framework for possibilities, is what I call it, to
Oh, I
help
like that.
support and foster the scholarly teaching, and creative works missions at the university.
Right.
So yeah, no, I didn't think I would be here. I thought I was going to be a ballet dancer actually. Uh,
Wow.
that was my first, area of focus, and I actually did that. I danced professionally with the California Ballet Company in San Diego, California, and then decided I preferred eating to not eating, and then went to school. And I ended up doing my PhD in Spanish literature. My area of expertise is actually theater of Spain from the 17th century. And my first job as a professor turned out to be at West Point at the US Military Academy. I interviewed there like 3 or 4 months after 9/11,
Wow.
just to kind of put that in context. And
Yeah.
when I
What a time.
landed, it was a wild time for sure, but it felt like absolutely the right thing for me at the right time. You don't want me in a foxhole, but like I could serve my country in that way, right?
Yeah.
Teaching language, literature, culture, intercultural competence, regional expertise to future officers, helping them to really understand how language and culture and regional expertise um, enhance their leadership in the U.S. Army. So, but that was a real eye opener to realize that leadership wasn't just a kind of charismatic quality that people had, that it was actually a series of skills that can be taught and it can be learned. And that for that context, you were teaching future officers to help engage a diverse group of people from all over the nation to work together to solve a problem that was too difficult to solve on your own and where you might die or kill people, right?
Yeah.
And that just blew me away. And I thought, wow, universities don't do a good job at this.
Right.
Right? Anyway, I was there for 12 years and kind of got promoted through the normal academic ranks. I was an associate dean there eventually. But I wasn't allowed to like chair a department or be the dean because I was not active duty military.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I think I can do this. Like, and honestly, I think that the civilian universities actually need my help at this more than West Point, right? Where there's leaders all around. And so that's what led me to leave West Point after 12 years. I became chair of a department at the University of South Dakota. Then I was associate dean again. And then I came to UCCS as dean of the College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences.
Mhm.
And then I've been provost now for a year.
Pretty amazing journey. And I loved that you started out as a ballet dancer and all of these things led you here. And that the first thing I thought about when you're talking about leading leaders and getting them to lead is when you're in a situation where, like at West Point, where, like you said, there's a plethora of leadership and people are there because they're already leaders. Trying to get people to row in the same direction is a little bit hard when everyone seems to have a good idea. What's the critical juncture between harnessing great talent and getting them to row in the same direction?
Ooh, I mean, I think, knowing the direction helps, right? So as leaders, we want to know what is our purpose, what's the direction we want to go, and what are the underlying values that we hold so that we know how, the manner in which we are willing to drive towards those that purpose,
Yeah,
right? Because I think the thing that leadership we sometimes we forget about leadership is that leadership skills can be used for good or evil or anything in between, right?
right.
And so to make sure that you have whatever values you hold aligned as the manner in which you would drive forward to that. And then you have to be communicating that because leadership isn't just you doing something, right? The whole point is that the thing you want to do is way too difficult to do alone, right?
Yeah,
And that you need other people to kind of come along with you. So having that clarity of purpose and your values clearly solidified for yourself so that the people that you're engaging can decide, oh, yeah, I share that purpose and I share those values and I want to help Donna. I want to help Lynn, move this mission along.
right. Inspiring that leadership and then equipping them. Because what I hear from a lot of CEOs is that they can't quite get people who are given the mantle of leadership to actually take that uh,
Mhm.
charge and
Right?
and lead with authority without coming and asking mama what do I need to do next?
That's right.
So what's a way of empowering people to feel confident in literally taking that torch and carrying it forward?
Yeah, I think that the it seems like a simple thing to say, but I try to communicate to people that whether you want to have an impact on other people or not, you will, right?
Yeah,
That you do actually metaphysically, right, impact other people in your organization, in the world, on the planet, etc. And so, what do you want that impact to be, right? Do you
yeah,
want it to be positive or negative? Because it will almost never be neutral,
right,
especially if you're in a position of authority. But there is that kind of like, you can lead from wherever you are, whether you're in a position of authority like the provost, or you are a faculty member, doing your teaching and research, and you're not necessarily a chair or a director of anything. you still have the ability to influence,
Right.
right? And so I think sometimes, in higher education, a lot of times professors, you have, in order to be a provost, for example, you have to be a full professor, which is an academic rank. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with your leadership skills necessarily, right? It really has to do with your research, your
Right.
teaching, your service to the organization. And we focus so much as faculty members on the the scholarship and creative work that we do, right? That is
Right.
original, it's driving humanity forward, curing cancers and innovative literature, these kinds of things. And so it takes a long time. I mean, it takes a long time just to get the PhD. Forget about actually making full professor.
Yeah.
So the average first line department chair in the United States in higher ed is 46 years old, and they've never supervised another human being,
Yeah.
right? So think about that. I mean, that's easily 10 or 20 years behind, industry outside of
Right.
higher education.
Yeah.
And we also train them to think that uh, their creative work and innovative research is the ultimate expression of the human intellect,
Mm.
right? And so they want to be doing that.
Right.
They don't want to be like I had a department chair who had a countdown clock. I only have, 2 more months until I'm not the chair anymore, right? And they have these kind of rotating responsibilities. So it's been a passion of mine to be helping people understand that, hey, you have this 3-year opportunity as a department chair. You don't have to want to do it forever, but you will have an impact, whether it's for good or not. And so what's the one thing that you'd like to make progress on in those 3 years? And so that's kind of like the way I pitch it to my new people who might be reluctant leaders, especially in higher ed. And showing how people can lead without authority, I think, even just in their communities, right? Not just in business. How do you want to influence your school board?
That is really key to lead without authority, to lead without a title that says, I am leading this. I
Mhm.
hear a lot of people um, coming to me with, there are things bothering me in the world, and I'm not sure what to do to impact change.
Right, that's right.
What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, like what skills do you have? What are you passionate about? Right? So if you have I mean the smallest thing can be, writing writing your elected officials, right? That seems like a simple thing to do,
Mhm.
right? But that's one thing that you as an individual can do. The leaderly thing to do would be to host a postcard writing party in your house,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then you have 6 or 8 of your friends and a pile of postcards, and everybody brings some stamps, and you all sit there and have a little wine and you write postcards and then flood your, elected official, with, 60 postcards all on the same topic. Do you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, there you
that's
go. Now
that's
that
the
is something
leaderly thing to do is to get others engaged.
exactly, and it's actionable and it's more than just talking about the problem.
Hmm.
It's making an impact in influencing a different way of thinking. And it's one way to make use of a community that you have some influence over by igniting them to action,
That's
especially
right.
around that
Mhm.
passion or the problem or the pain point that makes us feel, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? I love that.
That's right. And I always give the example of Greta Thunberg, right? She was 9 years old and went on this school strike. She sat in front of Parliament with a sign at 9 years old every Friday and refused to go to school, trying to share the message of climate change. Okay. And, she has since, gone all over the world speaking. She has no authority to change climate policy. She has no authority to change corporate policy. She has no authority at all. but she's gained notoriety through her leadership, whether
Yeah.
you agree with, her platform or not, right? It's hard to ignore the way she's engaged others to join together on a problem. And now she's been speaking out uh, on Gaza and Palestine, right? That's been kind of her latest thing. And like I said, it doesn't matter what you think about either of those issues, right? I'm only just trying to point out that she has no authority in anything except
Right.
for what she's developed through her own leadership.
Right. And that the average voice does matter.
Hmm.
Teaching people that their voice has a place in this big sea of what feels like invisibility.
That's right.
And you can unite people to action, even in the smallest way.
That's right. And you don't need a PhD to do it.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
need a
Because
purpose.
that takes a long time.
Mhm. Yes, it does. It takes a long time.
I remember being in my master's program asking if my counselor thought that I should move this to a PhD because a friend of mine had the same idea, and he goes, "No, I think you should finish the master's program first." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you're
Okay.
right." Uh, and all that, leads to a point. I got halfway through my master's program and realized, you know what? My thesis for this cohort sequence achieved what I went to graduate school to get. So don't tell this to the your department heads. I decided to stop halfway through master's program because I got what I needed out of it.
Right. Hmm.
And I think it's important to realize what it is that we hope to do so that
That's
we
right.
know what we need to equip us to get there instead of thinking, I need a title to give me authority so I can lead. No, we can lead anyway.
That's right.
But now you have this tremendous influence and you have the audience of people watching this podcast, which, will live on LinkedIn forever, or what, as long as forever is. Um, if you could say something to someone who really wants to um, create change in our world,
Mhm.
um, what is the one piece of advice that you would want to give her?
My goodness. I mean, I think what I found really interesting is when I came to Colorado Springs and became dean, suddenly people wanted to invite me to speak, to talk to me, interview me, whatever, as if I didn't have anything important to say, like, the week before, right?
Right.
So what I think I would like to say is that everybody is interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story to tell, and everybody can drive change with purpose and vision and leadership. You don't need to have a PhD. You don't need to be a provost. You don't need to have a title. All you need is a dream of what the world can be like.
Oh, wow. That made something warm explode right here. So,
And if you're only hearing it because I'm the provost, like I just want to share that you don't have to be the provost. You
yeah,
just sometimes have to be the provost to have the platform to say it, but you
right.
don't need to be the provost to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. What are you hoping is going to be different in the world when you finish this post?
Wow. Well, right now, I mean, yeah, higher education right now is undergoing a lot of change from different shifts to policy from the federal government, right? So they're shifting the ways in which grant funding happens. They're shifting the ways in which international students and employees happen. They're shifting some of the ways in which we just, engage. So, what I'm trying to do right now as provost is make sure that the University of Colorado and University of Colorado, Colorado Springs kind of, gets through these shifts and where we can, in a way that in which we can still accomplish our mission which is to make sure we're serving the people of Colorado through the different academic programs and research and creative works
Mhm.
and community engagement. Um, and so there's, as with anything, I mean, one of the things that leadership does is leadership drives change, right?
Right.
And so there's always, whenever there's proposed change, it shifts the status quo,
Yeah.
right? And so when there are stakeholders who might be comfortable in the status quo and others who may, desire the change, right? And in all of that, there's always uncertainty, and the human brain doesn't like uncertainty, right?
True.
I think you know this very well, right? So I'm trying to make sure that the university is able to, drive towards its mission, serve the people of Colorado, especially Southern Colorado, where we are, and kind of get through the rockiness of the shifts, and help the the other leaders, the deans in the colleges and schools, and the library and the researchers and whatnot, be able to continue to teach and to research, and to serve Colorado through the change. So that's a tall order right now,
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
the change is a lot.
Yeah. It's so
Mhm.
true. It's so true. But you are pushing toward that goal with a smile on your face. So, how do you manage your whole life in order to bring the energy, the mental fortitude to your work that you need to be effective?
Yeah, I think prioritizing and I really do all of the like gamut of things that you would think, like exercising and meditating and journaling and sleep hygiene,
Yeah.
eating in a healthy way. Like all those things, they really do matter. And it's kind of funny because I about 4 weeks ago I sprained my foot and I was training for a race. I couldn't do the race. I couldn't walk. I couldn't run. And this week I'm finally like able to, like, I had a good run. I'm smiling because I had a good run this morning, and yeah, so all those things really do matter. And I have support, great support at home. I couldn't do this without that. Um, and so it has to be, whatever. Now I have had to give up stuff, right? So
Right.
my big three things are, photography, running, and cooking. Okay. I
Yeah.
love all those three things. And I do not have time to cook. I had to give it up when I became dean. And fortunately, my wife is a great cook. Uh,
Good.
and so she has taken that over, because all this the whole time, I was the one doing the bulk of the cooking.
Yeah.
And I do a weekly photography project.
Good.
I've still maintained that, but not in a as I think intentional or creative a way as I would have liked. And then I'm running. That's the main thing that I continue to do. But the sleep hygiene has been really important.
Yeah.
The food is really important. It's all like you can't serve others if you have not um, taken care of yourself along the way.
Right. And you can't, if you shortchange yourself, you shortchange the world.
That's right. I will say one other thing that I do is I have a very large wall calendar. And there's nothing special about the calendar itself, but I try to plan, my life before work for the whole year. So my wife and I sit and kind of brainstorm about what mini adventures we would like to do during the year, maybe a little trip or whatever, but we plan the entire year that way. So that when somebody says, "Hey, can you speak at some event?" I'm like, "No, actually, I'm going to the Broncos game that day."
Right.
Or, no, we're going to the museum that day. And that has been so much fun to do with my wife because we are intentional about those mini adventures. We have stuff to look forward to, and we have good good reasons to say no to things so that they're not too much.
So you leave intentional blocks for booking the unexpected so that you can say yes within a
Mm-hmm.
boundary.
Mm-hmm.
That's really smart because there are so many people who might say, "Oh, yeah, that is really good. Let me just see if I can move this personal commitment that I have in order to make that happen." And that, in a way, can kind of compromise those boundaries that you set up for your safety.
That's right. And the other thing too is, especially as you're, getting to this point in our careers, right? We've been driving towards this point in our careers our whole adult lives, right?
Yeah,
We're finally here trying to like manage everything and do all the things. And we forget that, you know what? Like not very long from now, we're not going to be able to go up the incline. We're
yeah,
not going to be able to travel to Nepal or whatever it is, right? That we have to plan those things now and find ways to do them and find
yeah,
ways to interject joy, even if it's just we're going to go for an ice cream that day. And we're going to try a new restaurant that we haven't tried. It can be the simplest thing. We're going to take a picnic to Garden of the Gods
yeah.
day. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it can be as big or as small as you want, just as
Right.
long as it's something that you might not have done otherwise, and that you might not be able to do when you're old.
Right. Yeah, a friend of mine has a tea towel in her guest powder bath that says, "It's so weird to be the same age as old people." Because
Yeah,
really, we know in the inside, we don't feel like that.
we don't.
We feel like we're still young, and every once in a while, I'll look in the mirror and say, "Who is that?" But I think it's important that to remember that we're as young as we think we are.
That's right. That's right.
And there are limitations. There are just practical limitations, but to keep smiling and remain happy throughout that is really important. Well, Lynn, you've really unlocked a great a part of me that was struggling with how to encourage people who are feeling a little bit dejected right now with certain things that aren't going in a way that we expected. And I appreciate the call to action. It's liberating to know that there is something that we can do without having a title or a degree. And I appreciate you being willing to share that and to share that you have the same struggles that we all do in terms of keeping the
Absolutely.
whole life, the equanimity moving. And even though you had to defer cooking to your wife, wow, you're still eating really good food.
That's right. I taught her everything I know, so
And then there will be days you can help cook, maybe on Thanksgiving.
yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure.
That's super. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your story today.
My pleasure. Thanks for reaching out. I wish the best.